like to ask a question. If I may, I'm not on the committee, but why every month we're coming to this council for more money, more money, more money with this fund? They have $1 million budget. I don't know, Ms. Council.
3.5 million.
3.5. Here's 3.5 million. I just don't understand, every month,
Well,
it's, and you add up the salary for 4 more police officers and see what we're talking about.
we've been able to discuss those things that have all come.
We discussed them in the meeting prior, and that was where things were being built to be able to come to a conception of a group to be able to come together to and present a collaborative effort to help the police department. You wanted to jump the gun, and now you realize, because you want to know what the cost was, and this isn't my figures, you know my figures. To add 40 new officers, to add 40 officers, no, I'm gonna say what's exactly.
I'm gonna ask you,
No, I'm just asking, I mean,
you're
it's gotta
in,
be over $1 million or $500,000.
Thank you, so now the budget is $4 million.
So, what are we doing?
we have a requirement to meet libraries as Sergeant Penn has explained to the council. I've been working closely with them. They have talked about the problems that the software has. It's a continual problem.
Well, what's line 5 gonna do for the
But
problem?
no, these are, that would be to allow more discussion about something that.
I really should.
I'll be happy.
I'm sorry, I should ask you this.
Mr. Chair.
I apologize. I apologize.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I was going to disclose this to you as soon as I could. I just found out yesterday that Cologix is now the library's, not probably using the proper term, is cooperative now for libraries.
But
And I'll discuss that with you later.
Brian.
As well.
yes, Chief.
All due respect to the mayor, I beg to differ because we even called the programmer with the program, and they could not get a report. So as of now, we are not NIBRS or library certified. You speak about grants, hopefully this city doesn't want it because without NIBRS and library certification, you're not getting any grants for anything.
Mr. Chair, with all due respect to the chief, I spoke to Sheriff K.D. Gibson, and he said that they are libraries to the Cologix.
Also, we're ready to change their software from.
Yes, sir, and I was just going to
If
take
these,
these,
I'm gonna move on with the agenda.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna debate these points. So we'll get back to reports.
Excuse me, Mr. If I would, just real quickly, I would still like to come to the table to go over these very items, because that's what we're talking about now. It could have saved a lot of people, it could have saved a lot of time here had we narrowed down exactly what needed to come before the council. You know, I have never denied Officer or Captain Penn the opportunity to go to another software. I've only been concerned about having 3 of the same type of software. What would it take to get under a new contract and to transfer, what would it cost to transfer data from the one to the other? Those are basic questions that could have been answered on our next meeting. It was never developed. And that means the police department had to come with that information. That's just on that one item of the 3 that you had. So that's why I think it was premature to try to make this an action item.
We've had Gibson PC come in as a third party, this is just an entity to determine the problems, and they have confirmed Cologix is a problem and the software needs to be replaced. Now we'll move on.
What was the cost to transfer data?
We're moving on. Since it's not a public discussion. Chief, the floor is yours.
February stats for the city council in the month of January, the Crowley Police Department responded to 768 calls for service, which included 1 homicide call, 10 attempted suicides, and 1 completed suicide. 45 thefts, 6 domestic abuse calls, and 12 thefts by shoplifting. 122 citations were written for 10 in the month of January, most of them being within the city limits. In addition, Crowley Police issued an additional 85 citations in the month of January, not related to 10. With regards to staffing, we are fully staffed in patrol and 1 position open in dispatch. We have a list of prospects for dispatch, which we are processing through. The issue we seem to face is with the psychological evaluations. The evaluations on those tests and so forth, 3 candidates have all come back with a high risk. Therefore, we are processing through the applications, attempting to find a suitable candidate. And also, Mr. Chair, if I may indulge you, I have 3 things to pass out. Oh, thank you, John. It's 3 to 7.
Good. You got 4 sheets, Jim?
Sir?
Brad, you got some more, you got some more of these?
Yes.
I got you more.
What you have on this?
All right, this is what's, oh,
This one?
yeah, that's gotta go. I got 4 sheets.
You've done 3. Yes. You need those. You should have with you an email correspondence regarding the vehicles being sought to purchase for the investigations division. Some confusion arose with regards to how to obtain the numbers for the past 3 years. However, the email you have from Mr. Reagan clears up the confusion by stating that the city clerk and the city auditor should be able to get these numbers, so we are waiting that. You are also receiving copies of the TED numbers for the year, which was presented to Alderman Cavell this morning, and a copy of the fuel program for the city of Crowley instituted by Mayor Greg Jones. Now, with regards to those who had not filed for their city renewal permits, certified letters were sent from my office to those businesses not in compliance with their yearly renewal through the city. They were informed by order that they were not allowed to sell alcohol until this was resolved. You will note, with the exception of one, there was one that I just noticed on the renewals is not there, and we've not received it yet, and that would be Pizza Hut. But the other ones you will note are on the agenda today. And our investigations division has made 3 arrests and attempted homicides this year. One of those had 5 previous charges, and 5 additional charges were extended on the same suspect with regards to a different call of service.
Chief, you covered I'm sorry, I was handing up.
Oh, no, that's fine, sir.
All of these, so the total citations for TED program is 3,496.
Yes, sir, since the beginning of the program. Well, not including the extras in June, July, and August of 2019. My apologies.
Do you have an estimated amount what that would be?
There's about an 80% return on those, so,
As far as numbers, citations.
well, June 2019, we had 223, July, we had 353, in August, we had 305.
So that would. And with this protection, subpoena fund, that estimate came to $30,000.
Yes, sir, plus 12, so I believe it's 42.
Okay. And then the fuel policy, this is information that I've been trying to get, and apparently this is back in September of 2018 when this was issued under the Jones administration.
Yes, sir. Which we still follow today.
And how often are these prices checked?
I don't operate the program, sir, so I don't know that.
There could be enlighten us on maybe that as far as, this is a 2018 policy that I guess you're you have adopted.
No, sir, I have not adopted, it's been adopted before my administration. It was the previous administration that the chief and the department agreed upon. And, as you can tell, there's 5 best prices that are done by the specific company. And these best prices that nobody else can match. And it's to save the city of Crowley money. And nobody else can match these prices. And have not, but they were given that opportunity at that time.
Well, in 2018, but is that still, I mean, how do we know the
It's
prices
still,
are
it's
being
still
competitive?
available. It's still available. And I'll be glad to let you speak to the people who do it. And it's still available today. They still give us the pennies above the cost.
So that's what, so, but I don't have any information that was provided to me that shows what those costs are.
Okay? Of course,
But that's the information I was
with
requesting.
the cost of fuel, as you asked, and cost of fuel changes probably every week. Right? Am I correct? Gas
Sure,
will
but
change.
what I want to know is the margin above their cost.
It's pennies. It's pennies. And I can get the information for you.
So you do have something available that hasn't been provided to me upon my request.
I don't have it available right this minute, and I don't know if it was available upon request, but we can try to get it for you.
That's what I've been asking for, all the email correspondence. I just want to understand how the program works and what the prices are, because I know when an office fills up at another facility, but the second best price, there was something about 20 cents more per gallon.
Yes, sir, there is a big difference, and,
Well, I don't know what that difference
okay,
is.
well, I'll try to get it for you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
I'm not on the committee, but it almost sounds like this would be like what your materials list is for Clint's thing. Should you be doing this every 6 months?
Well, that's kind of what I was
Like
trying to find
materials
out,
list
how
or
this is continually updated. Anything else, chief?
Thank you, Chair. Chief, do you know your balance of your budget at present?
I just received the October financials.
So does that mean, no, is that no, or,
No,
oh, okay.
Any other questions for chief? Thank you, chief. I'm sure we'll have a question.
What was the, I'm kind of confused, because you kind of just went, brushed over, what was the purpose of the email regarding the witness subpoena fund?
we had discussed about 2 vehicles for investigative division. 1, then possibly 2 if there was enough funding, because by city ordinance, the witness subpoena fee, if not fully utilized, and I'm not quoting this verbatim, I'm doing as best as I can remember. If it is above this 42,000, 30,000 must by state law be kept in a 12,000 cushion. Above that, those funds by city ordinance could be used for the utilization of equipment, is what I understood.
And I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yes, sir.
Playing with funds like that can be fun because although I understand you gotta leave 30, we have 12 budget, but what if you have to spend 15, you've already spent the remainder on cars?
Right, and that's why Mr. Reagan's email was stating that the city clerk and the city auditor needed to show the 3 years of expenditures to give us an average.
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Yes, sir, and that's what we had discussed before. And at the time, whenever I was discussing with the chief, that the $70,000 that was approximately in that balance of that particular line, and you have to, within statute, you have to maintain a minimum of $30,000, and we have discussed this as well. And there's $12,000 that also have to be included in their budget, because that's what they're budgeted for the year. My recommendation was to go back 3 years to see what you actually spent, to make sure that that $12,000 was correct in balancing that budget for that year. So that's where the 3 years comes from.
Okay, and what was your final?
40, approximately, at that amount.
Keep quiet, okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it.